Well, 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 look who's back from a month medical leave. Jay Monahan is back. He has resurfaced and he's back. I want to know, let me know, what are your thoughts? Why did he leave? What was it? What was the medical condition? We're going to get into it. And the three things that he dropped onto the PGA Tour. Whoo, let's get into it. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Appreciate your love and support, and make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any episodes that drop when breaking golf news occurs. All right, let's dive in here. We have Jay Monahan back from an undisclosed medical something or other for about a month. Gee, I wonder what he could have done. I mean, let the rumor fly. I don't, hopefully he's okay and there was nothing serious. I'm like, but what medical procedure typically takes a month before you're totally recovered? I don't know. Maybe you had a little tuck and roll or something. Pulled the ears back a little. I don't know. Just speculation. But maybe he had a little work done. Make himself look prettier than before. I don't know. I didn't think he'd come back, to be honest with you. I thought this was him getting out, but he's back and he drops onto the players like his proposal. And there's like three key points of this. I went through it, and there's three things that he's working through. One is going to be the number one thing was compensation for players who did not defect over to live. So there's going to be some type of potential proposal. There's a proposal for some type of compensation for those who stayed, which is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. I think it seems as though, and this has been speculated before, that he wants something. He doesn't want to make anybody more mad than they already are. So all these players who were offered tons of money and didn't take it, let's give them something so that they're not so bent out of shape about not taking money, which is ridiculous. It's kind of like, gee, I sure wish I bet on the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, but I didn't because I was a lifelong fan of the other team. And so I can't bet against my lifelong childhood team. So maybe I should get something in anyways because I would have bet if I could have bet. But I didn't bet because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You had a choice. You had a choice. If money's on the table, you look at it and you say, I'm going to take it. I'm not. You weigh pros and cons. It's business. It's a business decision. And you got to decide for yourself, should I work for this company or that company? And everybody goes through it. You get an offer. Oh, gee, I make $100,000 a year, and this company's offering me $1 million a year. But this company gave me my start, and this is a new up-and-coming company. I don't know which one I should go for. I'm going to stay for $100,000 a year. And then this bunch of people leave, and you're like, hey, I was loyal to you. Can you give me a raise? Maybe you can get a little raise, but, I mean, they're not going to come close to anything. So, and they shouldn't. Look, you had an opportunity. You passed it up. Too bad. So sad. That's the end of it. That's the end of it. There should not be any compensation whatsoever. The second thing is this, and this is where things start to get interesting, is he wants, in this proposal, they want to prepare a task force, okay, for the players. So there's a task force that's going to decide the pathway back to the PGA Tour for the players who left. Okay, so this is interesting. So there's going to be a group that now determines how to come back onto the PGA Tour. This is interesting. Now, also in this, it's something we got to read between the lines on this one too. And they've assigned the chief player officer is going to be Jason Gore. So now Jason Gore has worked with the USGA, and he's been kind of the liaison between the players and the organization, like the USGA, and he's had a number of roles, and he's really been integral in a lot of the USGA setups, and the players really like him. He's a former player, he's a winner, he's a super fun, good dude, and everybody really likes him. So Jason Gore is now stepping into this kind of new role as chief player officer. Again, the liaison between the PGA Tour and the board and this task force and all these and the live and all that. He's going to be kind of the ombudsman, the middleman, the guy who works out and tries to create some common ground, tries to deliver information back and forth. This is going to be very key. So this task force is going to decide how players come back. And Jason Gore is going to be kind of involved probably in this and among many other things as things unfold. But what should be the pathway back to the PGA Tour? Now, on one hand, I don't think PGA Tour players should be given money because they decided to stay and not leave. And the same thing works in reverse. If you decided to leave, you should not just get to come jump right back in where you left off. No, there should be something like you have to go earn your PGA Tour card all over again, depending on what type of exemptions you have from previous wins or things like that. But those would have to still be, in my opinion, in play. For example, if you have a 5-year exemption because you won a major championship, well, there's still time on that clock. So you could come back and you have exemption into tournaments. If you don't have any exemptions and you left the PGA Tour and you want to come back and all your exemptions have either expired because of time or whatever, then you should have to qualify on the PGA Tour just like anybody else would. So the pathway would have to be, what kind of world rankings do you get if you're on live? Well, currently none. So, okay, too bad. You decided to leave, so you can't just hop right back in. Your exemptions, your status, all that stuff is gone. Now, you might be able to have a few sponsor exemptions. Let's say the sponsors of the tournament want to let you in. So there's a certain number of those that those players can have. And that would be up to the sponsor and the player. So that could be on the table. But as far as the pathway back in, hey, you're going to have to go somehow earn some world ranking points or go through the Korn Ferry Tour or other qualifiers. You're going to have to go to Q School to get on the Korn Ferry Tour and then voila, go up to the PGA Tour. So if you left, too bad, so sad, it's not so easy to come back on the PGA Tour. Now, I've said before, and I'll say it again, I think that pathway back is really, or the pathway to, is for players that get kicked off of live. Because I still think live is going to be a viable tour for players coming up. And they could go straight to live and qualify for the live tour. And those that don't, then could try to qualify for the PGA Tour. And those that get booted off live can come and now re-qualify for the PGA Tour. That's kind of what I think will unfold and will be the way forward. The thing, though, that we got to look at is this Jason Gore thing, because he's now this chief player officer. Don't be surprised if Jason Gore is soon the new commissioner of the PGA Tour. That's my prediction. I know it's like, whoa, where'd that come from? There's a reason he's got this role and he's involved. And I believe he's probably in line to take Jay Monahan's job, because Monahan's not the most popular guy in the room. That's why I didn't think he would come back. But I think he came back and then appointed Jason Gore so that he could train and raise him up to be the next commissioner of the PGA Tour. That's my prediction. Bold, maybe bold, but I think you're gone for a month. The only way you come back is if you do this and make sure we lead him into the position in the right way. That's what I personally think is going on. And then the another thing that's interesting is this, that they've also have a third-party special advisor to the players. Who could that be? Who's the third-party special advisor to the players? And that's none other than this guy, Colin Neville. Who's Colin Neville? Name may sound familiar, may not sound familiar. Many say he is the brainchild behind Live. Really, he started the he was kind of the brainchild behind the Premier Golf League, which was similar but different to Live. You remember that thing going on? That's Colin L. He was involved in that, and then he kind of got swooped up into Live, and they said, well, okay, Liv kind of got him, swooped him up, took his ideas, took him, and now he's back in the mix and part of this whole new process. So he's in it again. So this guy who created something somewhere along the line, worked on Liv, launching that whole deal, now he's back, part of the package. So that's a new kind of twist, a wrinkle to everything that's going on. Now, here's the third thing that Jay Monahan kind of dropped out there, which I love. I mean, I think this is brilliant. It is great. And it has nothing to do with Live or the whole restructuring, but this is probably get a lot of headlines too, because, and it might be like a red herring. Like, let me throw this out there just to kind of get the other stuff off my back, because this is kind of a big one. He does not support the rollback to the ball that the USGA and the R&A wants. So remember, they wanted to roll the ball back so that it performs more like the ball did in the 90s. And you're going to lose 20 to 30 yards of distance. This, in my opinion, I love this, because I think that rollback was horrible, because you're going to mess with people's equipment. It's kind of like telling a chess player, like, oh, hey, I know you're a grandmaster and you've been playing chess your whole life, but now the queen, it can't move backwards anymore. So you're going to have to figure it out. And you're like, what? Like, it would mess a lot of people up. Whereas a kid just born and learning how to play chess like that, he'd figure it out and he'd be better. So these kids these kids that have played their whole life with this particular ball, now all of a sudden they have a new piece of equipment. You're like, huh? The whole game changes. Your whole bag changes. The equipment you use changes. Your strategy changes. Everything changes. You become a totally different player that you don't even know. All of a sudden, all you pitch are fastballs, and then they make fastballs illegal. So you're like, I don't even know how to throw a curveball. Now what do I do? But you're one of the best pitchers in the game. So that's what it's going to do to players if they adopt this rollback rule. So Jay Monahan says, okay, 1, we're going to do this. 2, task force. 3, no rollback. We're not going to support the rollback. So now the USGA and the RNA are like, oh my gosh, this guy. So the PGA Tour isn't supporting it. What are they going to do? It's kind of dead in the water. If the PGA Tour isn't going to support it, Liv's not going to support it. There's no way. So I'm glad about that. That's fantastic. After everything that's said and done, I like the fact that he did this. So I think the people, us, nobody liked this rule. So Monahan's like, all right, they hate me, no matter what happens, but I'm going to make them like me at least a little bit today. So congratulations, Jay Monahan. I like you for that. I don't hate you for the Live stuff. The reason why they're doing this, honestly, is because they don't want to open the books. You open the books, you reveal everything. Forget about the lawsuits, whatever. You open the books, you're gonna be like, they could afford the lawsuit. They don't want to open the books. So they make a deal with Liv so they keep the books shut. They don't have to say anything. Voila, done deal. We can keep our mouth shut. We're not getting in trouble. You open the books, then all of a sudden, all the skeletons come out of the closet, and nobody wants that. So that's why they're merging with Liv. They can afford the money, guaranteed. They got people who can donate more money, so they got plenty of money. Although it was costing them a lot, they don't want to open the books. This is what Jay drops on everybody right now. What do you think about it all? Let me know. Let me know your perspective. I've got a little bit of kind of insider information, a little bit. So hopefully sharing that on some level with y'all. And but we gotta know. We gotta know what your thoughts are. Comment below. Thanks for listening. Good luck out there. See you next time.